Hey, we're here with Amber and Jeremy from Black Mountain. Thanks so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
No problem.
Your new record, Wilderness Heart, comes out in September. How'd you get Jaws to cooperate? Because, like, he's on the cover of the record.
You have to ask this guy.
Jaws. It's been retired for a while, I guess. I heard that they actually found the Bruce, I think they named him.
Oh, really?
The dummy shark that was used in Jaws. They found one somewhere in Los Angeles, like in a junkyard. But we didn't actually use that one. It's just an old photograph. Yeah.
It's a really cool cover.
He doesn't look like he's cooperating, I don't think.
No, he's angry, I think.
Yeah.
Third record was recorded partially in Seattle and partially in LA, right?
Mm-hmm.
How different were... I would imagine that they're very different places to record a record.
Yeah. But mostly is the people that we worked with that made it sort of different.
Right.
We worked with two producers, Randall Dunn in Seattle and Dave Sardi in LA.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's completely different style studios as well,
Right.
so that made a difference. But
Well, the Seattle studio was like ground zero for grunge.
All right.
Or,
yeah,
well, you know, like
it's true.
what sort of stemmed from grunge in
Right.
the mainstream. That a lot of big, like, kind of albums that came out of there were made there, like Pearl Jam 10 and stuff
Really?
like that, and like Alice in Chains records and Soundgarden records and stuff. They have all those records on the wall. Not that we were necessarily channeling any of that energy into what we were doing, but, you know, it's part of the history of the studio. And then the Sunset Sound, where we did a lot of the bed tracks for the LA sessions, is home to a lot of classic rock albums and things. Doors recorded a lot there. Fleetwood Mac, I think, and Led Zeppelin
And
maybe did
Prince.
some stuff there. Prince.
And I would imagine you did channel some of those people on the record. I mean, the record has kind of that late 60s, early 70s vibe to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, maybe a little more so those, but we didn't set out to in any way.
Right.
But yeah, maybe by default.
I really dig the video for Old Fangs. Is it tough for you guys, because your sound kind of is so retro, that when you're making a video, to have a video that is, you know, really psychedelic with your spreading your arms? Is that you actually?
No.
No.
I'm only in a few of the scenes. I'm in the back of the car hitchhiking, I think.
Right. Well, and also the graphics and stuff. It's a pretty psychedelic video. Is that? I would imagine for a band that's, you know, pretty well established, that you kind of have to toe that line between being a newer band and also paying homage to psychedelic rock. Is that a tough thing for you guys to do?
I don't know, not really. I mean, we don't make any conscious effort to be contemporary, or conversely, we don't make any conscious effort to stick to a particular genre in the past or something. You know, we're not purists in any way, so things just turn out how they do. It's sort of a mix of whatever it is that influences us.
Cool. Let's talk about some of the tracks on the record, if you don't mind. The Hair song right off the top. It's a pretty trippy tune. Did you guys, who wrote that? Steven and
Steven wrote the song initially, and then of course everyone sort of adds their parts, and we sort of arranged it. Yeah.
There's a couple of tracks on the record, Let Spirits Ride and Wilderness Heart, that are just straight ahead rock tunes. Is that fun for you guys to actually get out of the studio and play those live, in terms of just the energy? I imagine would be crazy, right?
Let Spirits Ride is pretty damn fun to play live, yeah, for sure. And Wilderness Heart is, definitely fun for me, just to belt out some vocals on.
Yeah.
I think they're straight up in a way, but they also have those kind of like left field elements built into them as well. Like Wilderness Heart has a little breakdown that's kind of got like this kind of new wave of British metal kind of thing going on, and then like this, like almost like a Werner Herzog soundtrack bit in the middle for about 20 seconds. Kind of like building those things into songs that would otherwise be kind of like straightforward. I think.
So when you're writing stuff, you're consciously aware of different things that you want to do through the bridge or through different parts?
Not really consciously aware of it, but we do find that we like to take kind of like, left turns as we go. Like it just sort of seems to satisfy us more if we can almost like distract ourselves from like what would be the means to an end or something, route of doing things.
Well, imagine playing them live too. It gives you more opportunity to do that than trying to boil it all down to a 5-minute track on a record, right?
Yeah, I'd say. I mean, we did. Well, Wilderness Heart's an interesting example because it's a song that's quite concise. I mean, it's a short song.
Right.
So it has like sort of a pop song dynamic,
right.
But then it has these kind of like miniaturized epic qualities built into it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it, or for me, same with Old Fangs, it has a bit of that too, but for me that makes it more interesting. Like
Buried by the Blues, the thing that struck me about that song is just the bass line and the line throughout the song is awesome. Is that...
It's like a lead bass line.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really
yeah, it's like a melodic bass playing and stuff, which is interesting because I know Dave Sardi kind of was really interested in moving that song in that direction with the bass. Like he wasn't really, he thought like it just having kind of a backbeat wouldn't really sell the song, or
right.
Whereas if we kind of were sort of orchestrated the rhythm section a bit in that manner, I think, and I think it turned out better as a result. Same with the drums, having that kind of orchestral kind of distance added to them, and the reverby bass. We used the big reverb chamber at Sunset Sound to get that bass tone too.
I was going to ask about Sunset because it definitely feels like a track that must have been recorded with ghosts of all kinds of people in the room at the time.
There's a lot of things that have been echoed through that chamber over the years.
Oh yeah, it's pretty. And when you sing through it, when I sing through it, it's like it's a pretty powerful chamber. I don't know. It's really cool.
Band of Horses recorded some of their stuff there, and there's one track that just sounds like Sloop John B. Like you could imagine that Brian was in the room with them when they recorded the track. Space of Your Mind is just a cool campfire song. Do you guys, when you guys are sitting down to write songs, do you write them acoustically first, or is it just bring all your instruments into the room and sit down and write stuff?
Yeah, well, we build a campfire.
Yeah.
And then we knock it over.
Nice.
We knock over the campfire and start a forest fire.
Yeah, that song was actually almost like an afterthought song. It
really
sort of that was recorded in Steve's basement, actually. Right? That was recorded in Steve's basement.
Yeah, it was.
And it was just sort of put together really last minute. Like, okay, if this turns out, then we'll put it on the album, and everyone was pretty happy with it. So, yeah, it really wasn't a part of the going to the big studios sort of thing.
Really.
Well, we didn't even do the vocals at the studio. No, I don't think we did much.
I can't remember. We did.
Keyboard? No, we didn't even do that. Yeah,
we did most of it at home.
I think that one was just mixed at a proper studio.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. You guys are obviously touring a ton. You're a band that has to be on the road, right? A lot of the time. You just came back from Europe, and is the plan to, before the release of the record, stay in North America, tour around here, and then I guess go back out?
We're actually, we're going to be touring back home from Toronto.
Yeah.
And then we're going back to Europe for a 5-week tour.
Wow.
Starting early September. We're doing a couple shows. We're doing a show in LA and a show in New York in late August. But other than that, we're going to Europe for 5 weeks and then coming back. And then, I mean, our whole fall and winter is going to be touring like mad. So
cool.
Yeah.
What else is going on? Just the record and touring and having fun?
Pretty much, yeah. The touring's the whole cycle for this record, and the touring cycle that's sort of just getting underway now is pretty much going to take over most of our lives for the next little while. We haven't really planned what we're going to do ahead of that, but for now we're just going to delve into the third cycle.
There seems to be a new vibe going on in Vancouver with bands emerging from that whole scene, whether it's with you guys or Yukon Blonde or some of the other bands. What's up with what's going on in Vancouver these days?
Musically?
Good
Yeah.
question.
Music scene? The kind of the few shows that have really excited me in Vancouver are like sort of like the garage rocky kind of like noise kind of punk bands
Right.
actually. Weirdly enough, what's the one band New Sensei?
I've never heard. Yeah.
That's their name,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, they're like a 2-piece, and I
Really?
really like going to see them. Yeah, and I really like. There's a couple cool new bands emerging. They're all very different, like everything that I like, I guess.
There's always like, I mean, I think Vancouver's probably like any other city. There's
Yeah.
always emerging scenes and crossover scenes and very cliquey exclusive scenes. And I don't know, they all just kind of like, you know.
But it comes and goes, right? And the thing that's interesting is that a lot of clubs, from what I've heard, a lot of clubs like Richards on Richards and other places are closing down, and just it's weird to me that there still is a pretty vibrant scene in Vancouver with not a ton of places to gig. Or maybe I'm
That's
wrong.
true. There's
Actually-
definitely a dearth of venues in Vancouver for the last little while. There's a couple.
There's a
that
couple
new
new
one
that have
that's
popped
come
up. The Rickshaw Theater on Hastings Street.
which has been around forever.
There's
but it
apparently
was-
like a new club that's sort of replacing Richards on Richards called, I think it's like 560 it's called. It's supposed to be a pretty cool live venue. There's the Biltmore Cabaret, which is fairly new. It's been around for a few years,
Right.
I think. And
liquor licenses are difficult in
Yeah.
Vancouver, so it's hard to open venues.
yeah,
that seems to be
there's
that
some
seems to be one of
warehouses
the
people will
issues.
have shows at and that kind of thing too. So
But I mean, it's like whenever there's a lack of, I don't know, like legitimate ways of doing things, there's
Yeah.
always like some kind of counterculture that emerges from that
Right.
that says, well, fuck it,
yeah, it's true.
we'll just build our own kind of like means for doing things. And so there's always going to be like, like there's this like what's that, Little Mountain Sound,
Oh, yeah.
places like that are always going to come out of a city where there's not a space or not a venue for people's voice to be heard.
Right.
And then people will just make one.
Mhm.
What are you guys listening to while you're touring around? Anything?
Some Mitch Hedberg.
Yeah, really. That's
Really?
We've been
Yeah.
jamming a lot of that.
Kind of prefer listening to comedy to music in the van. But yeah, I don't know. We just kind of listen to stuff. We just sort of disappear into our headphone world,
Right.
I think, most of the time, which, cause, I don't know. You never know what.
Can't get along with
It-
anybody's music.
Well, not so much that. It's just, you just feel like, I don't know, being in your own world. Sometimes when you're in the van, it's like it's rare that everyone feels like listening to the same thing.
Right.
But, everybody wants to listen to Mitch Hedberg, I suppose, whenever that comes out.
It's true.
But is
It's
there
just
so what are you listening to on your iPod when you put it on?
What was the last thing I listened to on my iPod? I can't even remember. It's probably like Harmonia or something.
Really? Remember?
I just bought the new Bonnie Prince Billy album actually, and I
That's
was
cool.
listening to that the other day. It's pretty cool. What else? I don't know.
All right. Well, thanks for taking the time. Thanks for the record. Excited that everybody will be able to hear it real soon, and thanks for taking the time to come see us.
You are welcome.
Cheers.
Excellent.